If you know me, I was never part of the 4th gen hating crowd, and that a lot of it was just based on controversy and YouTube clicks, because YouTubers know controversy sells. But that doesn't mean I don't have complaints about the 4th gen. I have several, over 12. I think I have 15 or something here or more. And yeah, I want to be completely clear with you on these issues, even though I'm able to fix a lot of them. So yeah, I'm going to shut up and we'll just dive right in. Okay, so one complaint I have among several of the 4th gen is, check this out. See all that splash right there, mud splash? That's not from off-roading. It's all down the sides, both sides of the engine. And I know a lot of you probably like, oh, it's a truck and get dirty. Well, that's cool, but maybe I don't want my engine dirty and with salty grime from the roads. No, I'd rather keep it clean. So where's that coming from? Well, it's shooting up from both sides at this angle, and you can examine the bottom of all the piping and down below to verify that, but it's really predominantly coming through this gap. Now, I've not wiped anything off here. You can see how dirty it is, but this gap above the upper control arm right here is allowing splash of road grime and salt water as the tire hits it to go straight up, or sorry, at an angle up into the engine. Started just tracing what I'm going to cut with scissors next, and only taking little bits off at a time. I don't want to overdo it, but you can kind of see my line here. So all right, now that I've cut it to size, left room for the upper control arm to flex up and down, I'll do a little more trimming there. All right, it's done. So rather simple. I added 2 clips right there. One of them, the lower one, I used the existing hole, and then added 2 clips right here. The upper one used the existing hole, and then it's just holding around the back. So I left plenty of flex and play for the upper control arm to go up and down. Again, it's a cheap piece of rubber, so if it ever gives way, I can easily recreate it, or yeah. But it's also pretty durable, so I don't think it's going to go anywhere. You can use upper ones if you desire, but it's rather secure right now. I didn't bother with the upper ones. I can always do that later if I want to. So yeah, that should keep a lot of dirt out of the engine bay. Now I'm going to do the passenger side. Here's just one drive later. Everything you see there would have been on the engine, so you kind of can get the idea. This one, all right, the Seatbelt Chime on the 4th gen. If you didn't like it on the 3rd gen, the 4th gen is nuts. Okay, so on the 3rd gen, I think on my 3rd gen, you have to, you can drive until you hit 11 miles an hour, and then it starts freaking out, and it's annoying, but it goes away for a little bit, and then comes back later. The 4th gen, you put it in drive, and if you have the audacity to not have your seatbelt on, it's like beep, 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 beep. It is loud. So how did I solve that? The Carista OBD2 scanner you can get on Amazon. Plug that thing in, and then in the app that you grab on your iOS or Android, that's one of the many things you can adjust. And I eliminated that thing for driver, passenger, and rear seats. So I wear my seatbelt. When I get my mail down my driveway and I want to go 50 yards into my garage, I don't want to hear that thing, or have to tell my passenger yelling over the sound of a seatbelt chime, hey, the thing's not going to shut up till you put your seatbelt on. So yeah, seatbelt chime is rough on the 4th gen. Andrew from Z Precision is going to show us how the factory cup holder is both undersized and leaky.
So as you can see, it's obviously not going to hold the full liter. It's leaking out. All those spring-loaded tabs that hold your beverage are not sealed, so the milk just runs right out. Ultimately, it ends up holding much less than a liter, and all that extra fluid's gonna go down inside your console.
So consider a Z Precision cup holder, because Andrew, great guy, He custom designs these, made in the USA. They are excellent. I love mine. I have nothing bad to say about it. The install is a breeze, and he's got a great video on how to do it. It's quick. It really is. So check those out, y'all. Okay, so the bed, the Tacoma, is pretty slick, actually. You know, I don't remember. Now, of course, Tacomas, ever since the second gen, the bed's been polymer. It's been plastic. But I don't remember my second gens or third gens ever having this slick of a bed. It's just it's slippery when wet, like super slippery. So get a good bed mat. And my favorite I found was the AAA liner one, because there's no big logo in the middle like some other brands have done, and it just looks good. So AAA liner, and you can get a matching tailgate liner, which is, I didn't know that was a thing, such as one from like Last Fit that kind of makes like the whole thing look seamless, continuous. So it's pretty neat to have. Yeah, so AAA liner, bed mat, and Last Fit tailgate liner. It's worth it on a bed that is this slippery, and you'll protect the bed, obviously. I'm torn on the Bluetooth speaker for really two reasons. One, I like the idea of if I ever want to pop it out like this and use it, that's pretty neat. But by default, it is overpowering to the rest of the sound system, and you can slightly adjust a fade in your settings, but you can't make it sound just right. So there's not really a good fix yet. We'll see what happens. The only place you can get spark plugs for the 4th gen for our 2.4 liter, whether it's in the Highlander or the Lexus or the upcoming 4Runner or whatever, any Lexus, Toyota vehicle that's using this engine on the road, you can't get spark plugs anywhere except the dealership. And I had a suspicion. I looked in, of course, in the manual. It's an NGK made spark plug. And after exhausting all options, like obviously Rock Auto, AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, and Napa, everywhere, the dealerships want you to pay $30 a pop because they want you to go in and get them serviced at their dealership and charge you $500, $600, $700 for a rather easy, very easy job. So I called NGK. And after going up a couple rungs on the ladder, I got talking to what department was it. They literally told me, or confirmed my suspicion, that Toyota is the approving authority of when those spark plugs hit the aftermarket area. Like, when can we get it at AutoZone or Advanced or anywhere, or the internet, anywhere besides a dealership. And Toyota has suggested making them available, but there is no date that NGK is tracking on when they'll be available. So Toyota's holding that close. And these engines have been in vehicles since late 2021. So keep in mind, you're going to pay, even if you're DIYing, for spark plugs right now, about $120 just to get 4 spark plugs at the dealership. So that's annoying. Yeah, hopefully by the time you need spark plugs, it's not going to be a thing. But a lot of guys put a lot of miles on these trucks. It's just a thing. Here's my truck, completely stock, pretty much the day I got it. You can see this rake, which is the angle from factory as it slopes down. It's a little too much for me. And this next picture where I've then got the larger tires on it, beautiful picture, but you can really see that rake. Look how much higher the rear is from the front. There's no lift on the front yet, but I'm going to put a preload collar lift on my factory setup here, but it's not a spacer lift, it's a collar lift, and it's going to make it look quite a bit different. So there I am with about 1.3 inches higher in the front. Okay, so you've probably seen it, but a lot of people, including myself, are not fans of the exhaust hanging that low. It's a problem on trails, and honestly, it looks kind of silly. So what some people will do is cutting, and I'll show you here, but I don't ever want to give a dealership cutting right there, but I don't ever want to get a dealership any ammunition to avoid any kind of warranty. Good luck with them trying to do that, but just in case. So I went this route through Sixth Element, another great small business that deserves our support for making an awesome product at a really cheap price. So of course we're going to test the factory setup and then test the Sixth Element axle dump setup. $3,000 right there. Very easy, straightforward setup or install. It's a neat looking little guy, just simple, just redirects the exhaust straight down and cuts off right after the cat. So my take is it looks a heck of a lot better. Can't see it at all. The best way to describe the change in noise is just imagine that the end of your muffler is slightly closer to you. You don't really notice it while driving unless you're really trying to notice it. So extremely minor, in my opinion, very worth it. Great product. Good job, guys, at Sixth Element. Do you approve?
Yes.
Your steering wheel does not lock. So every vehicle you've ever had, crank it left, right, and it locks when the vehicle's off anyway. This does not lock on the fourth gen. It goes all left, all right, whether it's on, off, doesn't matter. I find it a little annoying when I'm doing suspension work, like when I lifted the front, you have to just get a better angle because it's going to want to turn on you. I actually used a lock to my advantage sometimes, but it's a minor complaint. It's not huge. Toyota yet again gave us this stinking Allen key plug, and no, you know what? Just replace it with the one I linked below. Third gen did this, second gen did this. Save yourself the trouble down the road. All right. Turn radius. Okay. The fourth gen turn radius is a downgrade from previous gens. Third, second, first, obviously first, small truck. But the turn radius on the fourth gen is bigger. But turn radius on a fourth gen long bed feels like a full-size truck. It is that longer wheelbase coupled with, it's the longer wheelbase. And it is like, okay, so let me say this. I didn't notice it the first day or two I had it. Then someone asked me what I thought about it. And then I started noticing it. I can't stop noticing it. The turning radius on a long bed is huge compared to the third gen of my third gen long bed. And the short bed, regular beds, is a few inches worse than the third gen. But I think the fourth gen long bed to third gen is 2 feet wider turn radius. Yeah, so something to keep in mind. Don't buy a fourth gen long bed if you plan on doing off-road trails like the Trail Hunter in tighter spaces. It's just it's like rock crawling, things like that. It's not probably your best option. So Toyota gave us an 18.2 gallon tank, which was surprisingly small. And how about the range meter that doesn't account for 4 or 5 gallons left in the tank? Well, it's not all as it seems. 285 7017 Falcon Wild Peak AT3Ws. So pretty much a 33-inch tire. I'm pretty light on the pedal, but I'm gonna reset my truck's trip and also GPS track it using an app. And I'm gonna get the mathematical perfect miles to the gallon I get from this highway trip when I come back and top off again. So let's find out. 6.695 gallons. from Stewart's, getting our ice cream, and now do the math. All right, ignore odometer, look at distance, 151.65 miles, then compare it to what my truck says on the trip, 145.2 miles. So larger tires, therefore truck is actually wrong. That's why we GPS track this. And then you take the 6.695 and divide that into 151.65, and we get 22.65 miles to the gallon. So when you take 22.65 and multiply it by 18.2, which is the gallon capacity of our fuel tanks, you get over 412 miles of range. Now, I have larger tires and a small lift and some various other heavy weights on my truck, so you can do a heck of a lot better. Therefore, let's see, in my third gen, I can get 365 or so miles to the tank. So it's just important to note that, yes, a smaller tank, but you can go a lot further if you're light on the pedal. And as we all know, everything comes down to how you are on the pedal. And as for this test, I cruise controlled at the speed limit. So I was doing like 65 for most of that, with a little bit of town driving when I hit the airport. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of not improving over past mistakes, Toyota yet again gave us Guage cluster plastic that scratches so stupid easy. So go ahead and invest in this. It's so worth it. I'm linking it below. Do it on both of my trucks. It's great. And my one tip for you is when you think you used enough of that solution, use 2 times more. You cannot change out your high or low beams on your factory headlights. They are fixed. And it's got kind of a slight blue tint. I'm more of like a pure white kind of guy. So it's like 6,500K versus like 6,000K. Not a huge deal. However, the blinker bulb is incandescent. It's not LED. So you can replace it with these guys. And, you know, I just kind of ignored this mod forever because everyone was doing it. But I actually really love them. So super easy to do. You're just going to zero tools, just pull it out. And I'll show you the difference here in just a second. But careful, this guy's probably hot if you were just running it. So pull that out, stick the new one in. You can immediately see, oh my goodness, it's so much brighter. It is kind of stupid bright, but looks really good in the truck, as you're about to see. So right side, look instant on and off versus kind of the fade in, fade out of the old school style. On the left side, you're gonna remove your air intake port right here. Kind of fun to do, actually. I like these little push button types, but they're easy to drop, so be careful. And then do the same thing. So also I chose the amber running lights to look factory instead of the lights that switch back to white when you're not blinking. But yeah, brighter in the running lights as well, which I'm a big fan of. So yes, I like them. If you're like me and you're gonna put any size larger tires on your truck, even if it's just nothing crazy like I did, the mud flaps that come on it, if you got mud flaps even on your trim, they're weenie. They're too small. They taper down at the bottom. I think they actually kind of look goofy, but that's just my opinion. So I switched out to this. These are significantly wider, affordable, install pretty easy or very easy, and are just as durable and look super sharp in my opinion, with getting pretty much all the coverage you need for 285 7017, aka about a 33-inch tire. Unlike our third gens, when you have a hidden winch, you can't just reach down the front of the truck and access the clutch. It's pretty tucked away down in there. So I kind of fabbed something up, and here's how I found a solution. So Warn Evo 10S inside the hidden rough country winch bumper. And that handsome boy, what you doing, big boy? Checking it out? Anyway, so yeah, wireless remote, focus, okay. By the way, just got done fluid filming, but okay, so out, and then in. But to free spool, well, the hidden winch bumper is a bit of a problem because there's no access. I thought about cutting right here, blah, 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 where I could reach my hand in there, but instead I got creative. So here's what I did. What is it, big guy? He loves the snow. Oh, one hand. All right. So, you have your wired remote option right here I installed. It's always good for a backup. But, what is that little guy? Well, let's find out. So right now, we are locked. But, with a simple turn, that was promising. Ta-da! So, how did I do that? And easy. It does not take much at all, but you can do it from the top. Now we're locked. And all that is, see if I can get some good angles here. So that is an extension right there. Let's see, right in the dead center. That's on a 3/8 inch extension. I did this in my own way. You can do it in any way you want. But I have it on a adapter 3/8 to 1/4 inch, which is what you're seeing at the top. There's a 1/4 inch long neck socket. But the black bar there, 3/8. Okay, and it goes down. And right there, it's connecting to a flexible 3/8, which I drilled a hole in that plastic. Cool. And on the other side of that plastic, it's gonna come out, kind of tough to tell, but in the dead center of the screen, that's the flexible extension. And then I drilled 2 holes through the bronze here, straight down, better angle right here, to there. So the silver part right there is connecting to a universal adapter, which is connecting to a JB welded lump on top of the free spool lever on the winch. So I'll show you some more videos, but I did all of this easily without, well, I say easily, but I didn't even take the front off. I was able to get my probably above average size forearms down in between there and do this. So it is foolproof. It's not going anywhere. It is secure. In the end of the world event, if somehow this were to come apart, there's no moving parts right here. The serpentine's on the other side of the radiator, of course. But yeah, it is good to go. And it's locked in. I mean, you cannot pull it out. You cannot at any point. It is, oh, there's another angle. Yep, I just sacrificed. That's probably, I believe, a 6-inch 3/8 extension going down. And again, beneath this plastic is a metal layer, and beneath the metal layer is the winch. And that's how I did it. Simple as that. At no fault of the Tacoma, because it is a mid-sized truck, I found myself wanting more storage space, or at least convenient storage space up in the cabin. So I dug around and actually found this on Amazon. It just slips on. There's no adhesive necessary. It doesn't rattle. It's a good tight fit. It's got mounting points for a camera, a universal 1/4 inch by 20, 4 of them. Yeah, that's sweet. Okay, your emergency brake is going the way of most modern vehicles, and now it's a toggle button. I hate this. It's maybe my biggest complaint, but it's one of them. I feel like an emergency brake should be cable led and on a pull handle and guaranteed. Oh, yeah, one more. Yeah, one more. Small one, but if you like driving your truck in sport mode all the time to get a little extra pep if you want it. I don't do it, but every time you shut the truck off and turn it back on, it will revert back to normal. However, if you like driving your truck in eco mode to save some pennies on gas, you put in eco mode, it'll stay on eco mode, always on or off. So come on, Toyota. I mean, we know what you're doing here, but if I want to waste more gas and stay in sport mode, let me do it instead of just resetting. At least you didn't put auto start stop technology as Ford says it in the truck. Like when you go build a Ford Ranger online or any Ford, it says with auto start stop technology. Like, great, I don't want this vehicle anymore. I don't want start stop. No one does. Yeah, so I think that's about it. Anyway, those are the things that I find annoying or sometimes maybe a deal breaker for some people about the 4th gen Tacoma. I've got pushing 3,500 miles, so still young. I'm still finding more things. Overall, I still think it is a great truck for a lot of reasons. The simplicity to work on, it's beautiful. The engine is not brand new. It's been tested, and you can't say proven yet, but it's been tested and ran successfully in other platforms across Lexus and Toyota. We're past the transmission recall. Toyota did us right. I never had a problem. I was outside the VIN range. So in summary, when someone asks me 3rd gen versus 4th gen, 3rd gen is proven, 4th gen is improved. There's two very different trucks. The jump from 1st gen to 2nd gen is comparable from the jump from 3rd gen to 4th gen, because the jump from 2nd gen to 3rd gen is tiny. I mean, tiny, almost the same truck. Some would argue that the engine, the 4.0 in the 2nd gen, is superior to the engine, the 3.5 in the 3rd gen. Now I've seen a 600,000 mile 3.5 in the 3rd gen. So, and there were so many people complaining about the 3rd gen when it came out, just like the 4th gen. I'm telling you, controversy sells. When someone sees they can make money on ad revenue on YouTube and they make big headlines like, trucks are failing, transmissions exploding, the turbo is not turboing, they're going to make videos. And unfortunately, some lower IQ people are going to click it, they're going to go comment, and then it's just going to keep that system churning. Give it another year. I've already seen the internet turning, like on Reddit and stuff. I've already seen the change happening. Give it another year. As long as the Tacoma, the 2.4, doesn't go the way of the Tundra, like the 3rd gen Tundra did, we're going to be good. That would not look good for Toyota. But when Toyota's putting the 2.4 in every new 4Runner, every Tacoma, the Land Cruiser, it's in multiple Lexus models, Toyota's got a lot of faith in this engine, and I do too. So will that comment age well? 5 years from now, we will find out. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time on Team Oil Drop.